Alright, welcome back to Nick Lenz, Comic Corner Classic, Best Known Classics. This is episode number 1908 and Doubleshot number 1802. I have a Superman trade and the Green Arrow trade. Yes, seriously, Superman and Green Arrow. First up for Superman, we have Superman, the Golden Age, Volume 5. Yeah, love the clear nod to, Act number 1, where it looks like he's about to smash this damn thing. This book covers Superman stories from Action Comics 48 to 57, Superman 16 and 19, and World's Finest Comics 6 to 8. Fun fact about the Superman issues. Now, this actually is the first of these volumes where actually the Superman stories I actually never read before. The Action Comics ones I had actually never read either. Now, 16 was the first I got to for Superman Archive editions, but I had never read issue 17 before. Never before. World's Finest, never read that either. Now, what generally happens in these issues? Well, for one thing, he has an encounter with Lex Luthor a couple times in here. You're thinking, just Lex? Yeah, just Lex. As far as I can tell, I don't think there's any other major villains to make their debut in this one. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. The Prankster shows up here. Yep, the Prankster. We also had a debut of the Puzzler, the first one anyways. And that's it. But yeah, mostly, but the big one is, well, the Prankster. Yeah. He made his debut in issue 41. Yep, 41 was his debut. Was 40, was it 41? No, it was 51. Yeah, 51 had his debut. Of course, 49 had a debut of the Puzzler. Oh, and the writer of these issues is still Jerry Siegel. Artwork by Joe Shuster, John Sekila, Leo Nudwick, Ed Baraka, Sam Cronton, and George Russet. Jack Barley does his cover artwork here. Let's see. If you're curious, though, what is the first appearance of the Prankster, you might ask? Well, that's the Prankster for you. That's him right there. Yep. Who, by the way, did play Nightwing in the Kyle Herbert issues. Yeah, and then of course in the story was a chance to debut the Puzzler, which I think he's more like a rip-off of the Riddler. This guy apparently is the Puzzler. Yeah. But aside from those two things, there's not really a lot that happens here. I mean, in case you're curious, though, like the time period. May 1942, and it concludes in February of 1943. So, covers roughly 1 year worth of Superman comics. Yep, 1 year. Still a long time before we get to when, of course, teams up with Batman. Yeah, the Batman's Golden Age book is up to 1944. Well, Superman's still 1942. Well, you're right, he's 1943, mind you. Stories are okay, per se. Nothing really terrible here. I mean, aside from seeing debut of the Prankster, who is a not necessarily a really big known Superman villain per se. The biggest thing to take away with issues is just appearance by Lex Luthor. I give this book a 9 out of 10. Alright, next up is something quite interesting. We have Green Arrow by Kevin Smith. There's actually one issue from his run that's actually not in this trade, and that's Green Arrow Seeking Follows Orders. He wrote some stories to that, and that's not in here. Nope. You basically have the entire 15-issue run by Kevin Smith. Well, 15 issues of the third volume of Green Arrow, but it's two story arcs. The first one's called Quiver, which is 10 issues. 10. And the very next story arc, which is basically, I think it's like Sounds of Violence, I think it is. Yeah, Sounds of Violence. This was pretty much in the way, like, the only two storylines that Kevin Smith himself ever worked on for this book. Yeah, Quiver, all this basically did was, well, pretty much in the way, bring back Green Arrow after he'd been dead at this point for about 3 years. Yeah. Well, the Green Arrow tie anyways, and the Green Arrow himself, Oliver Queen, had been dead a little bit longer than that. Yes, and in case you're curious though, when in the world did he die? It was in Green Arrow Volume 2, Issue 101, which was released in October 1995. So when he was revived here in the first issue of this book, he had been dead at that point for 7 years. 7 years he'd been dead. Yeah, so... Yeah, covers... We also have the first appearance of a guy called Stanley Donover, who's here just for this story arc. We also see his grandson, Stanley Donover II. He makes appearance here too. Yeah, he's no pre-crisis character. Kevin Smith basically just brought back in the storyline for reasons. Yeah, he's here in this opening story arc for a handful of issues, and that's it. He also has a monster in here known as Spot. Yeah, Spot, otherwise known as the Beast with No Name. Yeah, a character from the 60s. And Kevin Smith had good to bring this character back. And he has a new book of names called Stanley is Monster. Yeah, it was a weird idea. His mother, Cecilla Donover, it's kind of weird though that her last name is a very similar name where she's the daughter of the original. Yeah, it's kind of weird to say the least. I mean, her first post-crisis appearance, well, she only made one appearance in issue 9, a flashback. And apparently, well, Stanley Donover was a Star City killer. Yes. Now, of course, basically, when Greta comes back, he from his perspective, he's basically come back after being on the road for a long time. Though he didn't realize, 10 years have passed by. And then, of course, he goes to Justice League. Of course, he didn't know about what happened with Hal Jordan, or the fact he has a son. And then Batman comes in, knocks him out, and basically does an examination for him. They do bring up various stuff that's happened over the years, like him being scarred by Poison Ivy, or Black Canary breaking his wrist, or the fact he's been shot in the chest by an arrow by Shadow. He's here with Stephanie Brown. Yep. Of course, it's in 2001, mind you. This is, my guess is about a year after the events of No Man's Land. Yeah, I think so. Because but the book itself was only gone for 3 years, though. Even the character Oliver Queen was only gone for 7. So yes, basically throughout this, aside the whole thing with Star Circular thing, it's revealed the whole reason why Oliver Queen came back. Hal Jordan is the reason why he came back. He missed him, so he pretty much de-aged his body, and also he reunited with the Black Canary and his son Connor. And eventually, of course, Connor becomes sort of a recurring character in here. We also see the debut of Mia Dearden in here. Though she's a prostitute, then of course Oliver takes her under wing as a disciple of his. And basically, she kind of... It's hinted that she wants to be basically like, you might train her to become a possible Speedy, per se. Or at least a possible partner for Green Arrow, aside from having his son as a partner. Yes. But it's actually a really good story arc here. And in the case of the second story arc, the second story arc is noteworthy for the debut of one particular recurring villain who 99% of the time he's written by Kevin Smith. And you're all thinking, who could that be? Who could this mysterious villain be? Where is he? Snap! It's onomatopoeia. Yes. And there's also stuff in here with the recurring thing with Green Arrow and Hawkman, their recurring feud. Like, thing starts off in the storyline where after some romantic stuff and have a laugh with Hawkman. Then of course Green Arrow goes, Oliver takes Diana to dinner, and then when they get back, they have sex. And of course, they also bring up the fact that she used to have a wig. Kept pulling her hair like, ow. And basically she brings up the fact she grew her hair out longer and she dyed it blonde in order to avoid having the wig. And then of course, basically after he finishes, he gets up, puts his pants on, because he don't walk out butt naked. And then apparently he runs into Hawkman, where he says, I want to chat. So they proceed to talk outside of the room, where talk about the whole thing with birds, and the whole thing with Hawk Girl, and talk about damaged goods. And of course they're yelling, which wakes up Black Canary. And then she proceeds to not put anything on, so walk out in her birthday suit. And just by sheer coincidence, Mr. Terrific is there for reasons, along with Connor. And she says, Miss Terrific, a little help, please? And then he uses balls to cover up her breast, her groin, and her rear end. And there's a joke about balls, which is so funny. And of course tells her to knock it off, and then she's to walk off. And then you have Connor, Mr. Terrific, and Hawkman all looking in the direction of Black Canary. And you have Oliver Queen look at the reader and says, she's totally obsessed with me. That was so hilarious. And of course he bows up in the storyline. But here's the weird thing. After the storyline, for some strange reason, Kevin Smith, when he decided to write Batman, he decided to make a recurring villain for Batman. Despite the fact he's a recurring villain for, of all people, he was started as a Green Arrow villain. Yes, as for why in the world he created him in the first place, it is completely unknown. I mean, he made his debut with issue 12. Yes, issue 12. Now, here's the thing. I have reviewed Winding Gur. If you're curious, though, when in the world did I review this storyline, you might ask? I mean, I have reviewed it. Which, by the way, the story has never been concluded. Ooh, I got no subword. Yeah. I actually did this 6 years ago. Yeah, I did a review of Winding Gur 6 years ago. And what about Calotophy? Have I actually viewed this storyline? Which was the second major storyline featuring him. Yes, I have reviewed that. Yeah, it's kind of where it comes Onomatopoeia. Like, if you think of all of his appearances so far, it's mostly been in Green Arrow, the Batman Calotophy, Winding Gur. All those are done by Kevin Smith, mind you. And of course, he does appear in Secret Follows and Origins. I think it's either a profile book, I'm not sure. Excuse me, where he appears in, let's see, was it Profile? Yeah, just the profile page. That's really his only appearance in there. In the Green Arrow 80th anniversary 100-page super spectacular. Was it a reprint, you might ask, for his appearance in this one? Let's see. Oh, it just an illusion. Yeah, it was just an illusion, so he appears in that one. He does appear in one issue of Green Lantern for some reason. Yes. Dream sequence. Infinite Crisis is probably just a cameo. Yeah, he does appear in there, but a lot of the time, mostly he is written by Kevin Smith. Now, in case you're curious, though, with this reviewing this particular trade here, is there anything really left to go for him per se to review? Well, for DC, no, there isn't. I believe I have reviewed this one here, Batman Meets the Green Hornet. Because I think I have reviewed this one. Yeah, so as of right now, for Kevin Smith's time at DC, he's done. Completely and utterly 100% done. There is like nothing really much else for like for him to cover, because I've covered everything for him from DC, which is interesting to say the least. I would not expect, basically, because if you think about it, this is one of a handful of trade series he worked on. Now, I heard a story behind this one. By the way, I give this book a 10 out of 10. This is really good. The story I heard of how I got the Green Arrow is that he was actually asked to direct a Superman movie. Yes, seriously, a Superman movie. And he decided to turn it down and said, hey, if you need anybody to write Green Arrow, I'll be happy to write that. And apparently that's what got him the job to write Green Arrow. He's in the book very long. Unlike his Daredevil run, he only did 8 issues of that. This is 15 issues. 15. Which is something to say the least. Plus, a Secret Files and Origins issue. Well, he did some stories for that one. I'm surprised they included this one. Probably because which is a paperback version. They probably didn't include Secret Files and Origins for some reason. Yes. Now, this is also the 4th time these issues have been collected in trade. Like, fully. Because they were originally collected in 2 original standalone trades. And then you have the Absolute Edition, and then there's this. Yes. And with this also, I officially now review for Green Arrow Volume 3 the first 31 issues. Yep. Now, I personally still love reviewing Green Arrow. Now, you are thinking, okay, since I reviewed Kevin Smith's run, and I've already got done Brad Mills' run, what is really left to go for Green Arrow Volume 3? The issues by Joe Winnick. Yep, that's literally all that's left to go. As one of those finished up, who knows? Okay? So yeah, that's a particular review. Next one's going to be One Piece. Okay, next video. Bye.